Okay, the last video that we're going to cover on stress, this is I think video 6, hopefully, is dealing with the adaptive. Okay, this is the good stress. This is the good ways to deal with your stress rather than the maladaptive or bad ways to deal with your stress. Going back to Hans Selye, if you remember, when I talked about him, he was talking about this concept of good stress and how when the alarm goes off, okay, when you start to feel some of that stress coming on, then you need to use these adaptive or good ways to deal with your stress. And by doing this, you're actually going to be beneficial both physically, emotionally, psychologically, and it's going to just make for a whole better situation. So the first one then that to get into is to learn to confront the problem directly. Be action oriented. One of the biggest problems with students, and not just students, this is adults as well, is the procrastination, the waiting, the putting things off to the last minute, and then next thing you know, you have 5 things to get done. You don't have the time to get all of them done, and then the stress begins. If you can learn to confront the problems directly, be action oriented. Doesn't mean you have to get everything done all at one time because then that's going to cause stress as well. But be able to sit and plan it out. Know what you got to get done. Kind of have a plan system built in. And then when you're ready, go for it. Get into it. Get the things done. Don't wait around. Okay, we started this new semester here coming up, and the videos you're watching here, I had to create these videos before the new semester. We didn't have a lot of time to get this done. When the administration told us to try this new teaching method and stuff, I could have sat around and waited to the very last minute to try to put these videos together, and I would have been going nuts. So instead, I've been doing this a little bit at a time, putting them together, hopefully being able to make them, pretty good. I know it can be a little bit better, but at least it's a good try. But I was action oriented, okay, and because of that, my stress level was down doing this, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. Okay, the second one then is make reasonable appraisals of your stress. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Don't think too much into it. A lot of times we start getting into stress, and I do this horribly bad. I will start getting stressed out, and I will start getting all upset, and I just go into these, anxiety-driven episodes, and really I just have to take a deep breath and say, this too shall pass. And that's my little quote that I say over and over and over again, that I learn to get through my stress when I start feeling it coming on by just saying that little quote. Now, if you guys can come up with one of your own little sayings that help you get through your stress, it really does help. Because most of the time, things that we think are really, really big stresses are not. And they're very simple, but we just don't really appraise them very well. Number 3, learn to become self-aware. Listen to your body. When you start to feel the effects of the stress building up, that's that alarm system going off. Learn to say no sometimes. That's a huge thing. I have a horrible time doing that. I will have somebody come up and ask me, well, do you want to be on this committee, or you want to help us out here? I'm a mayor of a city. I'm the president of a rec commission. I do too much. But I begin to learn to say no sometimes. I draw that line in the sand because we have to learn to do that. You need to become self-aware when you're pushing yourself too much, and you're going to get yourself into trouble then. There are 2 phases to when saying no, and that we're going to talk a little bit more about those in class. Okay, learning to recognize the stress is a little bit different than the self-aware. Self-aware is when you're listening to your body and the effects of that. Recognizing it is learning to look at the outside part, not internally at yourself, but learning to look outwardly and to see what's going on around you a little bit. Learn to see those disruptive reactions coming towards you. When you have somebody that just gives you a lot of stress because their personality just doesn't go well with yours, then you need to maybe learn to stay away from them. Don't hang around them as much because then you won't have as much stress. If that person's the one who doesn't want to do any studying, they don't want to do anything to get their grades any better, and so they're bringing you down, then you need to recognize that and learn to get away from it. Other things you can do to deal with recognizing of your stress, Albert Ellis, the psychologist, came up with a really easy way to deal with your stress called the ABC method. And basically, it's really simple. First, you do the activation. You learn to see the stressful event coming up. You look outwardly and see what's going on in your life that could be causing you some stress. B, you have a belief system. You believe that you can get through whatever that event is going to be, and you come up with whatever little saying you want, come up with whatever belief system you want, but you got to learn to see yourself getting through that event. Now, you might have some minor setbacks while you're trying to do whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, but you don't make those minor setbacks become disaster. Finally, the last thing is your consequence. When you get through that event, it may not be perfect. It may not be exactly what you want, but sometimes instead of being distressed, anxiety, or panic-stricken, learn to laugh it off. Stress reducing and defining a situation by being able to laugh at the situation. Again, this gets into a little bit of that Brown and Shelley there, who was talking about this concept of distortion, a little bit of the reality. That's not a bad thing sometimes. Also learn to release your emotions in positive ways. Reading, writing, taking a walk, all those kinds of things. Or just plain on meditating. You don't have to sit there like the woman here and being in a whole ambiance thing going on there. But you can just simply relax. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Just calm down. Okay, the fifth one, as a little doggy here is trying to show you, is sometimes forgiveness is the best way to go. Learning to relieve one's liability by learning to release the emotions. A very positive way to deal with your stress. Sometimes you just got to let things go and forgive either the person or the event or yourself for causing the stress being put upon you. Number 6, learn to stand up for yourself. Learn to be assertive. Learn to take action in being able to get your best interest done. Now, there's a huge difference between assertion and aggression. Okay, aggression is when you attack. It's when you are not thinking. It's when you're not being able to really control yourself very well. Assertion is when you are in control. Also, dealing with assertion, it's being able to honestly and openly best reflect your feelings and thoughts by being able to share with the other person what it is you're trying to do. When you're trying to learn to be assertive, here are the keys. 1, learn to know the language. I always have students sometimes who will come into my room or text me or something, and they'll say, "Hey, Mr. R, you lost one of my papers." And that's being aggressive. Because what am I going to do? I'm going to get defensive and say, "You know what? I didn't lose it. You never turned it in." Now we got an aggression going back and forth. Nothing's going to get accomplished. But if I have a student come in and say, "Hey, Mr. R, I looked at my grade. I saw that there was a 0 on the such and such worksheet. I really think I turned that worksheet in. Could you please just look and see?" No problem. That would be, and in fact, I'm going to, I'll do whatever it takes to help you in trying to find that. Now, I may not have it, and maybe you didn't turn it in, but I am going to look. That's being assertive. You had the right language. You controlled your communication to me by knowing what to say and how to say it, and you were able to get your goal accomplished. Third, a good way to deal with being assertive is to watch other people. There are people out there who are great at being assertive, and they get a lot of things that normal people wouldn't get. Watch those people and learn to take points from them. Also practice it. Okay? We are born to be aggressive. We're not born to be assertive. The last thing is learn to have a good attitude when it comes to being assertion. Come across positive, not negative. I just told my daughter the other day, she's taking classes at WSU and she's having a problem with one of her professors, and I said, go in and talk to them. Well, they don't want to listen to me. Well, they're going to get mad because I said, go in, tell them that it's your fault, not theirs, that you were not able to get that assignment done very well, that big project, because you did not understand what they were explaining to you, because you didn't take the time to try to get the information. Now you're really wanting to get this information so you can do well on the next test. What can you do better? Make the problem on you rather than them. Even if they may be part of the problem, learn to be positive, not negative. Okay, the very last one then, and then we're finished up here with your notes on this unit, is social support, and that's the key. The video talked about this a lot too. Learn to have those people that you can communicate with, that you can share things with, that you can lead anything to, or also be one of those people who listens to other people. That's hugely important. Don't just be the one that talks all the time. Be the listener. That's huge when it comes to stress and being able to get through that. Okay, these are the 7. Okay, again, social support, assertion, being able to forgive, being able to learn to be recognizing the stress, be able to be self-aware of your body and the effects that's happening with stress, be reasonable, and also confront the problem. These are going to be probably one of your essays on the test, so you really want to study back through all of these slides to make sure that you can explain this stuff really, really well. Okay.